Sometimes I have wasted looking back across my dreams. I'm a long way from clouds of silver lining and chasing after rainbows. But when that sun goes down, I know where I should be found, in my meadow, in the mountains, with my gal. I'm a long way from the skies of Montana. I can feel the bitter wind blow. I'm a long way, and I don't get no peace from all them songs of Colorado. When that sun goes down, I know where I should be found, in my meadow, in the mountains, with my gal. It takes a long time, but the rocks will turn to sand and the sun will turn to ashes. It takes a long time, but the circle will be broken and the songs will all be over. And when my time comes round, I will lay my body down in my meadow, in the mountains, all alone. All alone.
Yeah, Jake. Thanks.
Folks, welcome inside the Parisi Palace, high above 3773 East Broadway. This is a live edition of the Jake Feinberg Show, coming to you on Power Talk. Thank you so much for making us part of your day today. And without further ado, it's really a high honor to bring back a friend of the program, one of the most beautiful cats in the world, an incredible drummer, and a guy who's just a little bit groggy after being shaken awake by the earthquake last night. But we're going to try to, get him back locked in. Don Poncher, welcome back to the Jake Feinberg Show.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Jake. It's great to be back. Groggy as I am, still, that was a beautiful song you played. I was always really proud of that track because I played so little.
I mean, it's like I just wonder if you can go back in time and talk a little bit about I still haven't gotten to side B yet, and quite honestly,
Oh, really? Wow.
I think I turned it on one time and basically it didn't strike me, but that one side is just so remarkable because it goes from some sort of blues, almost like
Well, that was Tim. Tim wrote his own epitaph, so that was kind of rare. he was buried in the mountains in Montana.
Yeah, no, I mean, like you go from Bad Girl into,
Right.
you know, like which is like
into his epitaph.
yeah, and then there's just like this like crazy like rock tune and then like this other one that's just so freaking cool. He's talking about guys that are like, you know, like they have like they went fishing and he fell on like a saw blade and he killed himself. I mean,
yeah, the boys had some very creative lyrics. Those guys, man, that really impressed me. When I first got together with them, we were in Tim's garage in his Hollywood house, and got a drum set up there, so I didn't have to bring too much stuff in order to play, and got all set up and ready to play. And they just started singing these lyrics where I went, what did you say? You know, what are you saying? And they had musical parts together because Gary Barone could play drums, Jock Ellis could play bass. So they had become a rhythm section and played most of the tunes that were on that album beforehand together, as those guys being the rhythm section with McIntyre and probably John as well.
Wait a minute. So you're telling me that I mean, so maybe they played the tunes for you. Barone was playing drums just to show you what it was like, but then how did that?
Yep.
Oh
yep.
my!
He could show me on some tunes. He would show me. They'd play. Jock and Gary were the rhythm section. They were a rhythm section as well. So
Jock and Gary were rhythm. Jock and Gary were a rhythm section. That is insane.
They were a rhythm section. Yep. The two horn players, man, played bass and drums. So, and Gary was a good little drummer, man. He played some good stuff, man. You know,
I mean,
jazz guys.
I mean, even Melts. I mean, the whole album. There's just I put it on every day.
Cool.
It's just like, I mean, it's one of the coolest albums ever. I mean, did you ever? I mean, that was more like a tip of the cap to Studio Sharks, or that was more like McIntyre actually had never done a music album before?
McIntyre had done soundtracks for movies, so he had done a lot of music, a lot of recording, and he knew what he was doing. He just, when he met Benet, it's like, produce us, you know.
Well, I mean, like,
yeah,
I mean, I just want to put, you know, I've been shedding for a long time here, and we have a game on this program called Name That Voice, and I'm going to put this voice in for you right now. It's kind of a little bit of a story, but I think you're going to get a kick out of it, and we'll come back and talk about it.
Okay.
Was that most drummers, guitarists, pianists, they had cartage companies that delivered their instruments. But except for Universal, they had a room in the back room of the studio with every conceivable instrument. Mm-hmm. So when you came, I mean, in my case, I was using my monster set that I designed. They had to accept that. So, you know, I had a drum tech that was doing all this work for me. He was always one set in front of me, one set behind me with a particular setup, knowing what I would be doing, whether it was a movie, a television, a pilot, a recording, whatever it was. And in this case, this producer, and we were always behind barriers. The drummer, they had a booth called the Shelly Man booth, so that the drums, the leakage wasn't too bad when they were doing what they're doing. And now the percussionists were behind, it looked like the Great Wall of China. We were behind all these barriers so that we didn't leak into the orchestra in front of us. And at one point, the producer came, and he came back to talk to me, and he said, look, drummer, there's a scene coming up, and these people are downtown India somewhere. It wasn't Bangkok. Oh God, what's this?
New Delhi or one of
those.
Yeah, right.
One of those New Delhis. And I told him, as a matter of fact, I used the old joke that I was using. I said, you know, have you been to that New Delhi in New Delhi? Anyway.
Yeah.
Bada boom. So So he said, listen, drummer, there's a scene coming up where these people are on, they were on like, not camels, but the thing that the Japanese and the Chinese used to do, they'd run with people behind them in a two-wheel thing.
Oh, yeah.
So the guy said, there's a guy and a girl, and they're going to be in this push cart thing that you're pulling, and we're going to do some music of India. So be sure that you have some of those Indian drums. I said, okay. And we were on a break or whatever, and I went into the music room, and that's the one thing they did not have, tablas. There were no tablas. So what did I do? Because of my past experiences, I took a big kind of a handkerchief and put it over my small tom-tom. I loosened the head a little bit, and I just got kind of a thuddy sound, and then I could raise the handkerchief at times and hit the drum with a dur, and here I'm hitting it, and I'm using my fingers and one stick, and I'm playing all this, what I thought was Indian music, while the band was playing what they were playing. And when we finished the scene, it was one take, and when we finished the scene, the producer said, don't leave the drums, I have to talk to you. So I thought, oh, Jesus, I'm in trouble. I must have really screwed up. And this guy came running out, and he said, Hal, he knew my name. He said, and because he was calling me drummer, he said, Hal, that's the best tabla work I've ever heard.
Don Poncher, I guess we gave that away. You know, I mean, Don, like, I mean, you're right in the same conversation as all these guys. That was my interview with Hal Blaine from September 2014, and it's just like,
Yeah.
I look at my generation, and I love the Cats, and we're sort of, we were born with a little bit of soul, and then, you know, you look at younger generations, and there's a lot of authentic Cats, but they're barraged by technology and also just a saturation of visual material, so they're not really, we're basically drowning in mediocrity.
No, well, right. When I was young, Hal Blaine was my favorite drummer on the radio, because that's all I heard was the Four Seasons and the Four Tops and the Three Girls and every black
Beach
artist
Boy,
that had a big white drummer on it, and it was him. So
And you know, my question, the question I have
kid.
for you, I mean, he talked about literally going into Universal, and they didn't have tablas, so he had to make up a sound. And I'd like to talk to Poncher about a time when on the fly, because you're an inventor in your own right, when you were in a session and you had to create a sound of an instrument that you didn't have.
I had a session I was doing with Jim Price, and we had this intro to a tune that it needed a big droopy bell, like a boom. So we needed a couple sounds like that, and we were like, what can we get that with? Because electronics weren't happening then.
Exactly.
So this was a while ago. So I went, you know what? I've got a bell plate, and I had one. And I said, let me try it dipped in water. So we went into the studio in the bathroom and filled up the sink with water, and I dipped this bell plate half down in the water, boom, hit it and dipped it down and brought it back up. Boom.
I do that every morning when I'm doing the dishes. I love that sound. It's such a great sound.
It's on a Jim Price album somewhere. I'm sure it's on the Jim Price San Diego Traveling Orchestra. I'm sure it's on there somewhere.
I cannot believe, God, I regret, there were like 3 copies of that album at this record store before it closed. I mean, can you talk about basically the idea, like with Benet, you, not that you couldn't read music, but just the idea of why, like how big your ears were. I mean, you guys all learned to listen to, you learned music by ear first before you learned to sight read it, and what happens,
Right,
I mean.
I learned to sight read in school and everything, and because I started when I was still in school, so I had to sight read for band and orchestra and marching band. I was in marching band. I wrote the cadences for a marching band. Pretty proud of those. They lasted about, I don't know, 8 or 9 years. The guys were still playing my cadence in junior high that I wrote. So it was pretty cool. That's a kind of cool way to do it, to just to write your own stuff. But God, there's so many times it's just you needed a sound, and it's like, what instrument would make that sound? And that's when you kind of experiment with your bag of tricks, your little percussion tricks, and see what works. Sometimes it's just a bap on a conga head with a stick, and it gets the right backbeat, sound you want, or tambourine with a stick instead of hands, or a certain hand instead of a stick, or a hand with a towel wrapped around it, or a certain sound. It gets sounds that record, and then people can use them, and they can magnify those sounds. Hal Blaine was one of the masters of that stuff. I never met Hal. I'm really sorry I never got to meet him, but never did.
That's amazing. I don't know how that didn't happen.
I don't know. I had friends that played with him and stuff. I guess I was out of the loop for a while. I'd do stuff, and I'd be up there and doing everything, and then something would happen in the family, or something would happen, man, and I'd like back out, or the lead singer would die. Stuff like that kept happening.
Right.
Arthur Lee in Love, the lead singer died.
Did you know the original drummer in Arthur Lee in Love?
Yes, I did.
Can you wait? Hold on. Tell me, because I interviewed a guy, Mizuki Dwayne Roberson, I think his name is, and he was. I'm going to try to bring this up right. Can you? What was that cat? That cat was a badass drummer.
Don Conca. I met him. I was in junior high, still playing drums in my apartment across the street, and these guys had a house they were renting across the street from me, and it was kind of a party house. The guy was the one bass player, guitar player was he worked downtown in the market or something, but yet he played guitar and stuff like that. Well, there were these drums set up over there, and they turned out to be congas. And one day, Conca was over there. They introduced me to him, and he goes, "Yeah, what do you do?" And I go, "I'm a drummer." And he goes, "Oh yeah, really?" and he sits down and just plays a ton of shit. I'm going, "Oh, that's really good, man." And I sat down and played nothing, basically. Played a tune. And he goes, "Is that all you do?" I go, "Yeah, that's about it, man." So he was a little aggressive and rude. This is before Arthur's days, or this is before he got in with Arthur, but right around the time when they first got together, and I got with Arthur, 10 years later. So Conca was pretty notorious, and they tried to get him back. I guess he got busted, and he had some substance problems and stuff, and he didn't feel like he could come back. Because they were trying to get him to come back from jail and stuff, and he was like, "No, I don't want to play." And then finally he did. Before he passed, he did go out and play a couple of things. So that's nice. Good to know.
I mean, it was part of you kind of like just leaving. I mean, I know you got into the Lennon.
McCartney.
Yeah. I mean,
Lennon
did you see at one point that that your friends were becoming roadkill, so to speak? I mean, is there a reason why was it a conscious decision to leave so that you'd still be on this planet in this life today?
Kind of, yeah. Some gigs were a little tough. They were a little hard on you. But I'd leave when things just went really wasted. Like I left with Arthur after 3 years, and that's a long time to be with him. But I left because he was going nowhere. There was no more touring. He had bad record deals that were folding up, and so there was no gigs. So I had to work. So I was like, move on. I need another band. I need to be in a group. I always thought that was the best way to do it. And then, but it's definitely got its drawbacks, especially when the guys keep knocking off.
I mean, it's just, I wonder if you could talk about.
If Benet was around, I'd be working now. I'm sure if Benet was here, I would be working. I swear to God.
I mean, he got you. He was grooming you. I mean, you make it sound like you had no experience, but you were already very experienced. So, I mean, can you talk about?
Yeah, a lot of studio experience. I started when I was 10 years old. My mom got me in a studio down the street from our apartment, and it was doing country sessions. So when I was 10, I was doing country sessions.
Yeah, you got that great country feel going on too. I mean, yeah.
I played with Tex Williams. Smoke that cigarette, Tex Williams.
Wow.
Smoke it till you smoke yourself to death. Yep, I toured with him when I was 17. I was the baby.
You know, Poncher, we're just getting cooking here. I got another Name That Voice for you. Take a listen to this, and then we'll come back and break it down.
Spiritual thing is basically when you're playing. It's just not bebop. This is other music too, but bebop is in jazz is probably that's the high end of what we do as jazz musicians. But just the spirituality comes from it's like something. Now this may sound abstract, but it's something that Wayne Shorter said to me one time. He said that the only way you can really, really, really play is that you have to go to the store and buy some milk for your grandmother. You know, and when he said that to me and the drummer Omar Hakim, now he had a few drinks. We were all drinking.
Right.
I said, wow. But a couple days later, it hit me, because, it's like to come, if you have one of those kind of families, you go to see your grandmother, she says, go to the store and get me some milk, and you go there, there's a love, there's a love for something other than just what you're looking at. It's like your own personal love, which come from God, which could come from the force of life. It could be whatever it is that you think makes you tick.
Mm-hmm.
That if you tap into that, whatever that is, it's not a material. It's not the instrument. It's not the notes. It's the life force. And that is very, when you operate on that band, that's or on that frequency in life, that is very spiritual. We all know how to operate on the physical plane. We get things, we have things. We have bodies, we walk around, we do them. We make love, we make hate, all that stuff. But one of the beautiful things about art is that when it's good, it requires you to leave the physical universe for a second and operate, even though you're using physical things to express that. But that's not, you're not playing because you got a brand new Corvette sitting outside. You can, but maybe your music might not be that good. But I'm sure Coltrane was not playing because he had a blue suit on. It was something else. That's the spiritual end.
Don Poncher, you have no reason to know who that is. You want to take a guess?
No, I do not know who that is. I was going to say, who is that interesting cat?
That was my first interview with Stanley Clark from September of 2014.
I know Stanley.
Yeah, well, I mean, let me. So wow. First of all, how do you? Well, let's break it down. First of all,
I wired his studio. I do studio wiring stuff, and I was pretty active with it. And
dude, you are the humblest cat. Yeah, see, I knew that. So explain how you met him, but more importantly, I want you to talk about this concept. Him and Wayne, the idea of the frequency of being. It's like what he just said. It's this idea of going to the store to get your grandma some milk. It's this idea that there's something greater than it's not an obligation. It's just a duty. It is when you surrender to the music and to the greater conversation, it's the equivalent of doing something like out of pure duty. Like you have to go. If your grandmother says you have to, please go to the store and get me some milk. You're doing it, and you're not. It's a certain level of frequency on the bandstand.
But it's kind of where you want to get to when you play. You just do it because you have to do it. You do it. You know how to do it, and you just sort of succumb to being in the moment, in the moment of greatness, as it were, as it can be. It's just you never really know when you're going to hit those moments, except when you're around a good, confident group of guys or gals, whatever, musicians and artists, and all of a sudden you start doing stuff and you see that, hey, this is really magical. This is really working. And I've experienced that a few times where it's like, my God, when I got my job with Lenny and the Squigtones, it was Lenny and Squiggy from Laverne and Shirley, and David Landers was like, after we got done playing, which was really quite phenomenal, and we went upstairs, he says, oh yeah, you want a cup of water? I go, yeah, I'd love one. 5 drummers, 5 cups of water, all right, He says, well, what do you think? I said, I think what we did was just really super special, and you should let those other 4 cups go. And he went, yeah, I agree with you. I got the gig, man. It was real special. We just connected on every level, playing with Chris Guest playing guitar, and it was the whole Squigtones. Did you ever hear the Squigtones album? You probably not, because it's comedy and rock.
Well, what year did it come out?
72, 73.
No, it's right in my pocket right there. No, are there like I also look at it and I say, people like Reggie Workman and plenty of jazzers would, they look at, if you say, what is jazz? They say, it's music, getting on the bandstand and playing. Really, it's a matter of life and death. And when I listen to,
it is.
And when I listen,
There's no bad moments. You don't have any moments of slack. It's all got to be your best, to me.
Well, there's
your best.
There's something. I'm trying to get the difference between giving your best, because, okay, that's, you could still be in your head, but when it's really a matter of life and death, to me, that's about faith and prayer, and that's leaving the thinking mind and going to the spirit mind. When I listen to Funzone and I listen to Love Supreme every day with my daughters.
Oh, really?
Okay, so when I listen to Love, I do not listen to a lot of Coltrane, but Love Supreme on analog cassette is kind of a trip. And when I listen to it, and I just interviewed Chuck Israels last week, the great bass player, and he was like, he was talking about really his aesthetic. He really dug Dolphy a lot more than Coltrane, because he said that, Train was really, it was just this trance music. It was just a lot of repetitive trance. And
right,
I know what he's talking about, because when I hear that Love Supreme, he is praying. He's praying. He literally is.
Absolutely.
And I just, did you take that approach to, in any time
most first take good tracks, most good tracks, you're praying through the whole tune.
I guess maybe more the live context I'm thinking of.
Well, because I wasn't reading a lot of charts, and especially during the Funzone stuff, and I didn't read stuff. Ben may make notes or something for other purposes, or for the horn players, but I never did any charts or anything. I never needed them, because I just remember. So.
What is that? That idea of,
it's like you've got a task ahead of you, and there are things that can get in the way, and there just aren't going to be any, and that's the way it feels.
Wow.
It's like a home run. I hit the ball, and this one's square in the middle. There it fucking goes.
Well, it's just like, and it's like against Fernando Valenzuela, and he's throwing the knuckler, and you swing and miss twice, but then you just lock in, and you're like, it's all on the line now.
Know. Yeah, you just know. It's a zone. It's called zoning in, that's one term we use. But it's true, and it really does happen. Every good track, that first take that I was like, that's the take we're keeping. That's the good one. And it was usually the ones where everybody was zoned in together, because that's what makes it happen, man. And there are guys, there are producers out there that are really good in getting that to happen. Benet was one of those guys, you know.
But I mean, Benet was also a producer.
Yes.
I mean, can you? I mean, that dude. And you're telling me that he was murdered, pretty much.
It's from what we gather, you know. I never saw a police report or anything, and I know the family. I know friends of the family. I'm like hesitant to say, geez, they didn't find a body, so they, you know, they are there. I mean, they found the body, but they found an empty trunk and looked like stolen stuff. So it looked like a murder, you know. It looked like it.
You know what I wanted to ask. I've been interviewing, they're doing a couple of social distance concerts up at the Henry Miller Library. Big Sur this weekend with some buddies of mine, and I was talking to this one drummer. He's a multi-instrumentalist, and he's a really beautiful cat. And, you know, I wanted to ask you about this evolution in your own sort of psyche, in that this drummer, Alex, he'll play a gig, and, you know, he'll think he'll be in the pocket, and, you know, he'll get off the bandstand, and part of it's self-doubt, and there's a little bit of narcissism in it, but he'll get off sometimes, and he'll know that the band was off, or more specifically, he was off. And then the audience will be psyched, you know, and they will come up to him and shower him with praise. And it's like he wants to run off into a corner somewhere because he's a really authentic, he's very sensitive.
To me, that's just a normal reaction. I mean, you go on stage, you're so aware of every minute. You really are, unless it was the old days of going on Blitzed, which I never was a big fan of. But, you know, if you're really on your game and on stage, and you know when something happens, you know when a singer was off a note, you know when a beat got half dropped, you're aware of all that. So when you get off stage, usually the fans are the ones that do just a bunch of accolades, you know. They have no idea. Even if they did, it wouldn't even matter. The mistakes that you think, oh, that was bad, that happened, oh, shoot, somebody's going to hear that. I feel terrible. I'll never play anymore. I'm done. And it gets that way, man, but you just got to keep plowing through it. And pretty soon you do get to those points to where you know, oh, that gig was perfect. You really do.
But I mean, I guess, no, my question really is, like, when did you realize it's really none of your business what they feel? Because you know what, like, it doesn't matter. Like, I mean, John Perry Barlow, who was one of the lyric writers, among other things, for Bob Weir and the Grateful Dead. I mean, you know, he used to say one of the ways to learn how to receive love is by accepting other people's compliments of your work, even if they don't have any cockamamie idea of if it was bad or good or whatever their meaning was of that song. He said at a certain point, you know, fans would come up to him, and at first he'd be very dismissive, and then all of a sudden he was like, it's none of my goddamn business what I think. You know, and again, he's not on stage performing, but even Alex was like, talking to this drummer, he goes, you know, and this is the problem. He would leave, you know, he has dealt with, like any sensitive, creative person, he's dealt with self-doubt and depression, and he would actually leave, and this is a guy who's like an incredible musician, he would leave the gig in a really bad mood, like really upset.
There are drummers that do worse than that. There are drummers that really go off the deep end. I mean, you can really get depressed, you know,
I guess maybe my point is, like, you know, for you, especially if you were touring with Whitlock or you know, Blue Mountain Eagle or, you know, whatever it was, I mean, how did you get to a point when you said, you know, I have to learn how to receive love? Like, I didn't crush it. I know I'm a musician. I know I flubbed some notes and hit some clams, but you know what? I mean, yeah, you know, these people are trying to, they're trying to give a gift back to me that I gave to them, regardless if it was technically perfect. I mean, how did you learn to be how did you learn gratitude, Poncher?
Out of boredom. I better be grateful about something. This is just too stressful.
Dude, you are just, I mean, it's just, I mean, you are from that old school. I mean, to me, it's like, I mean, I don't know. I mean,
That's true. Old school is true. I am old.
well, I mean, you know, and a lot of people would say
Old school is old.
old school is real too. I mean, there's a lot of like,
Yeah, for sure.
you know, I mean,
For sure.
there's no ways to, but I think it's a big. I think it's. I mean, you're telling me that like you've seen drummers, like people come up and try to compliment them, and they just go off on people.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like basically
They
because
just- they
they
basically turn away. They turn away. It's it's like what you said is bullshit, and they turn and walk away. And you know, I've seen that happen to cats, and not the most successful, but I've seen it happen.
Because
You
people,
just gotta kind of learn to dig stuff, man, and just to appreciate what you got, man. The last few years I was playing, it's like I think I loved every minute I played, and a bunch of shit was happening too. Stuff was going on, and there was inner band stuff, and there was stuff happening. Musical stuff was going on, but still, I just wanted to just appreciate every minute. You know, it was all pretty special to me to be able to play. And you know, I'm glad I left that way. Thank God I did that. I had no idea I wouldn't really be able to move around that well.
It's funny. I woke
Now
up with like serious. It's just ironic that I woke up this morning with like serious lower back issues.
Oh no, yeah. I got mine fixed for a while.
Do you have any fond memory? Like, did you work like with a lot of like you know, like timpani or percussion, like in terms of like most drummers? I mean, if you did studio dates, you did a lot of, you know, I did a
lot of timpani. I did a lot of timpani and percussion and stuff when I was in school, from junior high school on. So junior high school orchestras, there was timpani parts and stuff. So I was doing timpani and snare parts, and you know, doing the whole rhythm section, actually reading and counting the measures you don't play, counting to 60 and going bump bump. That's kind of what, bump bump. Okay, you're done for another 40 bars. Okay. That's classical music, man. That's what I learned to play on. A lot of counting on stage there, boy. The newer guys are, where are we?
yeah. I mean, you get
like, where are we?
the in your mind, like, were you ever? When was the first time you were put into a situation with musicians at a professional level who were all better than you? And I guess here's the better question. Maybe it's, you know,
Usually, no. It was usually in the valley, playing around. I'd get auditions, and one was for, oh God, who's the fucking guy, man? He's just a huge piano player. And anyways, I like blew off an audition with them. I was like, no, all those cats are they're too good. They're straight studio cats. They're going to be too good for me. I'm not going to do it. And I distinctly went through it too. David Foster. I blew off an rehearsal with him.
Well, and that was before he became famous Foster.
While he was on his way up, Jay Graydon going, dude, Foster, man.
Yeah, right.
Foster.
And you felt like but at that point you were already an established. I'm talking about at the time early.
Established.
But I'm talking about early on when you really felt like, you know, you probably were, you know, you didn't necessarily have the chutzpah, but you got on with cats, and not only did you survive, but you proved to yourself that you did belong.
Yeah, I did a lot of stuff when I first got out of had left the Army, and I went and played with a bunch of those just black bands and cats that were really, really good musicians.
Who were some? Wait, on the West Coast?
I don't know any names. And it was all club work, downtown, East LA, you know, all around town, Hollywood, West Hollywood, all over town, all over the frickin' place. And I don't remember any names at all. But I remember a lot of just smoking cats, and you just bowed your head and played, and hopefully they would like you.
Well, I mean, like what kind of music were you playing?
R&B.
And most of these guys were just
pros, just nailing it all the time, pros. And I'm trying to be the drummer and do the hip beats, you know. I had to learn all those beats, man, R&B stuff, and it was important because that was my clubs that I could play with. That's where I could go hide out, you know. I'd go play with all the black bands and hide out until I finally got a couple. I think I got with Arthur. I think I got with Arthur after that. After I left the Army and did a bunch of black bands, and they just really put me in my place. And that was fun. It was where I learned a lot. I learned how to feel real good about playing and just stepping out and playing, you know, smiling, stepping out.
When you say you what was it about? I mean, first of all, I can't see them just. I mean, you would go in for the jam session and then you just sit in, or you were part of it.
Yeah.
And then
No.
and then like what? I guess in your mind, I look at it as like black music is sort of the most honest in the moment expression that you can have. It's not premeditated. It's essentially
Right.
An honest expression of in the moment truth. And I mean,
yeah, honest. I think honest is a good word.
you know,
And
and
it took a while to really learn what that meant and what it felt like. And I'd play with these cats that were seasoned, and I wasn't, and I wanted to be. And the way to do it is just sit and play. Just play. Do it. And play. Play as much as they want you to. And you'll get there. You'll get there.
I'm looking at a club here called Jafties, and I'm just trying to figure out the clubs that you might have been playing at too, because I mean this is around the time that Harold Brown and Howard Scott from War were playing with.
Oh wow!
We're playing with Deacon Jones in Compton area. But were most of these guys like Mel Brown, like Chitlin Circuit cats? I mean, would you say that they were like?
A lot of them were. You know, I don't know where I ended up. I really don't, because I was out of the Army with nothing, just hiding out.
When you got out, were you playing bebop? Were you playing jazz in the Army?
No, I played some cocktail music and stuff like that, and I was supposed to get into the band, and they programmed me out of the band into radio school, so into Fort Bennings, Georgia, so I could go jump and die in Vietnam in 8 seconds. So I left. I was out for 8.5 years, and then they finally offered me a general discharge.
And then you made it a point to say, I'm addicted to this danceable soul music, and I need to go find it.
I love this stuff, and I need to play it. That's right.
I dig.
And then I played psychedelic. Then I found psychedelic soul, and then it was over. Then Hendrix and all that stuff was hitting then too. So it was like, you know, this stuff is really interesting, man. Hendrix, I kind of lived on Hendrix the last days I was in the Army. On bass, that's all I listened to.
Yeah, well,
bass.
just sheets of sound. I mean, you know.
Yeah.
I got one more voice to play for you, Poncher, and then we'll come back.
Okay.
You know, say it or call it. What we are as people, what we are as humans, never really changes. I mean, we all have a heart. We all come from the spirit. You know, I think what happens is over a period of time or through culture and the cultural erosion and whatever you want to call it, our spirits and our souls get covered with a lot of complexity and a lot of garbage. You know, that what we are as people, what we are as humans, what we are as beings gets covered with a lot of trash. But what we are, in essence, is always there, because it has to be there, because that's what we are. So, you know, when something comes along, like something beautiful or something energetic or something that's inspiring, it rekindles that natural essence that's in all of us. And that's why you see different things happen at different times, you know, because people are made of love. People are made of hope. And if there's an opportunity for something that shows up that illustrates that, then it plugs that energy into people again. You know, so even though things look dark, or even though things look manipulated and whatever you want to call it right now, there's a lot of terminology, you know. What we are is infinite. What we are is always there.
You know, I've done 1,500 radio interviews, and I've published 2 books, and it just never...
You're still there.
Well, it never seems... I mean, I'm only 42, and it never seems to stop. It's this endless well, and if I could describe my show in one poetic riff, that was my interview from 10 years ago, Poncher, 2011, with Ernie Watts. Do you know Ernie?
Sure.
And you know, you know, you have a lot of self-deprecating humor, and you are, you know, kind of a lot of sarcasm and whatnot. But I truly ask you about, in this time, about, you know, like that the whole thing that he talked about. I mean, I feel like that's what my show is about. I mean, it's about plugging back in and being inspired. And I tend to do this with a lot of, I mean, not just, I mean, there could be younger artists. I've never met them before. I've never seen them perform. But, you know, we do a deep dive, and next thing you know, they're coming out of it an hour, 20 minutes in, and they're like completely inspired. And, you know, I just wonder, in your case, if you still have, you know, I feel like you guys being on the planet longer, having a longer arc of history, and also just sort of kind of living through a time when musicians were seen as working professionals and not working poor. I wonder what still keeps you in, if in fact you are still inspired, and what does keep you inspired and plugs you back in, aside from our interviews. But I mean, like, what is it that, because I know you're not road dog.
No, I think it's as he was saying, it's the perfection in people. It's nice to go out. It's like when you go out and do a gig and you don't know who you're going to play with or what you're going to play with, but it turns out beautiful because it's music. So, it can be a good thing, and you know, and should always be a beautiful thing. But in all aspects, in the club musicians and the studio cats that are strictly doing studios day in and day out, to the guys that are doing the big tours, you know, there's things that you just love, and it brings out the best in the roadies, the people that are doing the sound. I mean, you just find greatness all around you when you look. You know, you got to look for it. But what I remember, and the joy I always felt, was the greatness of people I was around when I got to work. It really puts a sting in your bonnet, man. It makes you feel good, you know, like you're doing something.
I mean, you know, is there anything that, I mean, it seems to me that, like, no matter what, you know, people can try to, well, people are going to try to push the envelope, and that's fine. Is there anything that you truly, is there one, when we get back to a place where the virus isn't just sitting there waiting for us, and it's been like, you know, like, I mean, you can just sort of feel like the percentages are well in your favor that you're going to be okay. I mean, this is probably a couple years down the road, but is there anything that you, what is the thing you most look forward to in your life to get back to a place where you feel that sting in your bonnet? I know you're not going to go back and you know, there is no
I'd really like to get together with a few friends and play. I mean, I may not be able to wield a full drum set. I may just do percussion, but whatever, it's still playing and sharing the mind, the one mind that you kind of all reach when you play. So I'd kind of like to do that again. I'm not going to go out and play pro. I doubt that. I don't think it's going to happen. I'm too much of a wreck. Body is spent. I'm
Sure.
shrinking.
No, I
I'm
understand.
old.
Do you? What is your advice to younger cats who have, have kind of, they've music is their sort of. I mean, like you. I mean, I think it's fair to say that a musician on this planet is. The music chose them,
Right, right,
and
that's for sure.
and so like for people that are, you know, not able to qualify for unemployment or not, but they are called to play and it feeds their soul. And what would be your advice about in this time, taking advantage of this time as opposed to wallowing in self-pity?
Well, first of all, you've got unlimited resources now. I think you can reach out and touch just about anybody through the internet, and you can certainly, through Zoom and other media, get in touch with people one-on-one. I have friends that are teaching, and they now teach with Zoom. That's how they do their lessons. And I think that's a fantastic thing. You can get away, you can learn how to get through this pandemic. Like I said, it could be a year or 2 years. My doctors seem to think 2 years.
Well, I mean, especially for
So,
indoor, communal, spiritual, live
yeah,
music, it's not. That's where that's a petri dish right now.
yeah, I know. Well, they're playing. They're trying to do spatial distancing, and I have friends that's their livelihood. I don't know how they're making it. I really don't. I mean, I find out through them, through their wives and stuff, how they're holding up. But it's really tough. It's like come and do gigs, and it's a risk. That's not worth it.
Yeah, there's nothing like going on like that. I mean, right now, if there's any gigs, they're going to be outdoor. They're going to be
It's got to be outdoors.
social.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the other thing that's kind of humbling is just like you have to stay with your party. No dancing. It's like I couldn't think of a less
No
appealing.
horn players. No horn players. Come on. Horn players are always spitting. You can't have them out there.
It's like baseball. You can't spit.
Can't spit anymore. No, they're starting to use their hands. I saw that. They can't help themselves.
I know.
They're all gonna get sick.
It's so amazing to see pitchers that are like, like addicted to tobacco, and you can just see in their faces they can't put it in. They're dying. Like,
Right.
you can see you're going to see careers end this year because of that. I mean, they just can't function without that high.
Yeah.
Don, in a normal time, I'd come out and visit you and do a Instagram or Facebook Live interview with you, but those days are in the future.
Few and far between.
I just want to believe that, I'm writing a book with the drummer Johnny Vodakovich in New Orleans, and I'd like to think that Poncher and George Marsh and Johnny and all my peeps, are going to have at least a crack at playing music whatever way they want to again, with people live, whatever,
Right.
and it's going to come down to spirit and also continuing to have the desire to continue to learn. And I hope
Right.
that I mean, like I said, I mean, who would have ever thought? I think I bought that Funzone record 3 different times, and I traded it in at various places, and then finally the 4th time I put it in, and now all of a sudden it's the soundtrack of my time right now. It's just like, so
That's bizarre. Yeah.
no, it's not, because it freaking rocks, man. And it's always it's great to hang with you, man. Be safe and just keep looking towards the light.
Yeah. Thanks, buddy. I appreciate it. And it'd be nice to actually hang in person, or
No,
some kind of live chat.
I'm actually proud of myself because before we connected for the last 2 years, essentially, when I didn't have my kids, I was on the road as a rogue journalist doing all types of interviews. So, I mean, but I've been able to, I'm just trying to stay.
That's going to be a huge change for you, though.
You know, Don, it is, but I'm somebody who, like, has that. I think the key word for someone like me is being adaptable. And, I also know that this virus, however it originated or however it came in or the country, whatever it is, it's incredibly unpredictable and it's very lethal. And it took one of my spirit brothers, and it's, and so I am just trying to be, I was never a social butterfly, so like going out locally, it's not like crimping my style, but yeah, I mean, the hardest part for me is being unable to go and heal through real vibration of live music up front.
Sure.
That has been hard, but
it's killing my brothers too. It really is. They don't know what to do,
Well, it's weird that, like, out of everything, it'll be the last thing to come back. So
I have some that won't quit playing. I do have friends that won't quit playing. They're out there still doing it. Guitar player friends and stuff. They're crazy. They're not going to stop. Okay, social distance, and you've got asthma and you've got this and that. What are you fucking doing?
Well, I mean,
there's only 5 cases in the town. I'm going, holy shit! Don't come near me.
I'm telling you, man. And you know what? It's just. It needs to be
unpredictable. It's unpredictable. We don't know what it does. We don't know. My wife's a nurse practitioner. We're really into this stuff, and she loses sleep over it. Believe me, it's a real bad one. It's just real fucking brutal. So, we don't know how it responds. We don't know if it can come back and mutate into something that's worse or less worse, or do you get immune after you catch it? For how long is the immunity? If they get a vaccine, how long is the vaccine going to be good for before it mutates? Yeah.
Man, you're spot on. And do you have any? Have you been able to dig up Meltz's number?
Oh, hold on. Yeah. I found a home number for him. I don't know what it's going to be, but we'll see.
Yeah.
Let's see here. Let's see if that'll let me in, and that lets me in. There's Jake. There's Fino. Oh, I found Jock Ellis. The best I can find for Jock Ellis is, what's it say?
I think you actually sent that to me, and it doesn't work.
mejockster@yahoo.com.
Oh, that's an email. Okay, hold on.
Yeah. That might be a way to get him. mejockster.
mejockster at AOL?
Yeah, yahoo.com.
Yahoo. Okay.
So I've got him in California somewhere, but I don't know. I know his work number and home number. It might be for a service, a legal service he provides. So I don't want to mix that up. It's best if you get a hold of him through his email. He'll respond.
Sure.
He'll respond. Just tell him I sent you.
What and anything on Meltz?
Meltz, let me see. Let me get that done. I'll get there eventually. I'm old.
Take your time.
Wolfgang. Wolfgang Meltz. I've got one number.
Okay.
Ready?
Yeah,
ready?
I'm ready, baby.
281-435-1186.
All right, Poncher. Keep swinging away, man. We'll be in touch, man, and be safe. And much love to you and your family.
Beautiful. All right, man. Great talking with you.
Always, man. Be cool.
All right. Bye-bye.
All right. Peace.